Good morning, everyone. Happy Hanukkah. We had two wonderful guests from Kfar Aza who spent Shabbat with us, actually ready to take them back to Miami to go back to their families for the rest of Hanukkah. But they came here to tell the story of what happened to Kfar Aza. And Avi Lulu is the president of the community. And he spoke numerous times throughout Shabbat. And he said something quite shocking and remarkable. But first, we're now in the midst of celebrating the holiday of Hanukkah. Now we know there are two miracles that occurred on Hanukkah. The Maccabees, a small tiny army, defeated the mighty Greek armies. As we say in the Al-Anisim, God delivered the many into the hands of the few, the strong and mighty into the hands of the weak. And then the second miracle was that the little flame of the menorah burned for 8 days. After all, that seems like a bigger miracle. The survival of the Jewish people was dependent on that victory. The fact that a small band of Jews defeated the mighty Greek armies, that should be the first miracle that's celebrated. Now, in this week's Torah portion, we read about Joseph and the brothers. And when we come to Joseph and the brothers, Pharaoh then appoints Joseph as viceroy of Egypt after he interprets his dreams. And he says to him, "You will conduct all the affairs of the country. Only I will be above you." And then he says, "Val picha yishak kol ami." By your mouth will the entire nation be led. But the word yishak, points out the Evan Ezra, has two different meanings. It's from the word nishika, to kiss. It means to kiss. In other words, Pharaoh is saying the nation will be kissed by you. On the other hand, the word yishak comes from the root of the word neshek, which means ammunition. So what is the dual meaning of the nation will be led through you, either through kissing or ammunition? And it's reminiscent of what Ronald Reagan had as a policy. He said, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." The best way to conduct world affairs is to show love and kindness and softness, but at the same time carry a big stick so your enemies know that if they don't cooperate, there will be retribution, there will be consequences. And this is the meaning of what Pharaoh said to Joseph. You will lead the nation, and the way you will lead the nation is yishak. On the one hand, try to be embracing, loving, lead them with kindness and compassion by showing them your goodness. But at the same time, carry the big stick. You also have to have the neshek, the ammunition, to know that if people do not follow your instructions, there will be consequences. The Jewish people have followed that policy in the land of Israel. To those nations that want to live in peace with us, we are ever extending kindness to them. We are ever showing them partnership and brotherhood and fellowship, like the Abraham Accords. We show them we want to embrace them and kiss them and help them. But if not, we say to them, we also have the neshek, the ammunition, to defend and protect ourselves. And when you look at the miracle of Hanukkah, that's the message. Yes, there was a victory, but that's not what we're about. We're not about fighting. A Jew only fights to defend themselves. What we have to do, and our mission in this world, is to spread light, to increase light each and every day like the menorah. And that's why the symbol of Hanukkah is not the ammunition. That's only a default position. Our real goal and vision and objective is to add light to the world each and every day. Avi Lulu, who's going back to Israel today, spoke yesterday at a gathering. And he said, our kibbutz, Kfar Aza, was a peace-loving kibbutz. We hired people from Gaza. We gave them a fair share. We looked after their needs. We believed in living in peace. So much so that when members of their families, of our employees, needed medical treatment, he said, I personally would drive them to hospitals in Jerusalem like Hadassah to get medical treatment, pick them up and bring them back home. And he went so far to say that the head of Hamas, Haniya himself, his daughter needed a surgery in Israel, and he personally drove the head of Hamas's daughter to the hospital and then brought her back after the surgery was completed. And he said, not only didn't they repay our kindness, but he said it was those workers from Gaza that they brought into their community, that spied on their community, and gave over detailed information to Hamas. And when Hamas arrived on their kibbutz on October 7th, the terrorists, they knew exactly where all the points of the kibbutz were. They knew every home who lives there. They knew where the ammunition was. They knew where the gathering places were. They knew the kibbutz. They had maps. Who gave it to them? The very people they hired and were kind to and good to. And he said, I have many telephone numbers of Gazans who worked in my kibbutz who I thought were my friends. And my son had been taken into captivity. His own son alone, 26 years old, was taken hostage on October 7th. And he said, I keep on calling their phones to say, won't you return my son? I was so good to you all this time. I took care of you. I was kind to you. Go to the Hamas leaders and tell them to retrieve my son. Tell them I'm a friend. And he says he keeps on calling these numbers to contact them, to get them to bring his son back. But none of them pick up the phone. Unfortunately, we have learned time and again that we have no choice. We try to be good, we try to kiss, we try to embrace, but they repay our kindness sometimes with evil. Those who are willing to embrace us, we say our hand is extended. But for those who don't, we have to remember the lesson that Pharaoh told Joseph. You also have to have the neshek, the ammunition. And unfortunately now, Avi Lulu will tell you is that he supports the IDF now because he realizes that there's no other hope to deal with these people. Kindness didn't work. It's only through strength and power that we will be victorious and be able to live in peace. And God willing, his son will come home soon. Have a happy Hanukkah.